Episode 9, The Last Resistance. Part 1, The Discovery. 7 years had passed since the Dark Lord's victory, 2 since the butterflies had first appeared. The demon scouts had become increasingly aggressive in their searches, knowing their master's rage grew with each blank page in the Registry of Souls. Deep in the screaming woods, where the trees wailed with trapped souls, a demon patrol led by Captain Skullcrusher had been tracking strange readings for weeks. Today, they found what they were looking for.
Captain, the soul traces end here.
Skullcrusher approached the rock, its massive form leaving smoking footprints in the corrupted earth. It pressed a clawed hand against the stone and felt it, warmth. Not the heat of fire, but the warmth of life, of hope, of humans who still dared to exist free.
Clever little rats. Hidden behind stone and prayer. Break it down.
The siege demons moved forward, their massive fists designed to shatter castle walls. But this wasn't just stone. It was stone blessed by the last free priest, sealed with the blood of martyrs, held together by the desperate hope of the 1,000 souls hiding behind it. It took 3 hours, but eventually, inevitably, the stone cracked. Part 2, The Last Stronghold. Behind the broken seal lay the Sanctuary of Defiance, the last real military resistance against the Dark Lord. Unlike Haven and the other hiding spots where survivors merely tried to exist, this was a fortress of fighters who still believed they could win. Commander Marcus, no relation to the dead king, stood at the entrance, his blessed sword gleaming with the last holy light in the world. Beside him stood his warriors, 300 men and women who had chosen death over submission.
So, the hounds have finally found us.
Surrender, and your deaths will be quick. Fight, Anne.
Marcus's sword took the demon's head off mid-sentence. For a moment, there was silence. Then Marcus smiled grimly.
We've been preparing for 7 years. Did you really think we'd just talk?
The battle erupted. The resistance had turned their caves into a death trap. Blessed water flowed through channels in the floor, burning demon feet. The walls were inscribed with prayers that caused demons physical pain to look upon. Every choke point had been calculated, every fallback position prepared. For one glorious hour, it looked like they might actually win. Part 3, The Arrival of Overwhelming Force. But then the Herald of Darkness arrived with the real army. Not hundreds but thousands of demons, including the converted. Those humans who had been transformed into something worse than demons because they had chosen their corruption.
Admirable. But futile. Burn them out.
Hellfire was different from regular fire. It burned souls as well as flesh, and no blessing could stop it. The demons breathed it into the caves, and the screaming began. Those caught in the flames didn't just die. They experienced every sin they'd ever committed simultaneously while their bodies melted. Commander Marcus organized the retreat deeper into the caves, but there was nowhere to go. They'd built their fortress with one entrance to prevent infiltration. Now it had become their tomb.
The children! Get the children to the deep chambers!
Yes, there were children here. Born free, raised free, taught to fight from the moment they could walk. They were the Resistance's greatest hope and greatest vulnerability. Sarah, the girl who could hear across dimensions, grabbed the youngest, a boy of 5 named David.
Come on, we have to!
A demon's claw punched through her chest from behind. She looked down at it with surprise, blood bubbling from her lips. The demon lifted her up, still impaled, and showed her to the others.
Your listener dies first. Who's next?
Part 4, 20 against thousands. What happened next would become legend, though few would live to tell it. 20 warriors, the elite of the resistance, held the main chamber while the others tried to evacuate the children through ancient mining tunnels. These 20 knew they would die. They had always known. They had trained for this moment for 7 years. Ultimus Resistentia. They roared as one, the last resistance. They fought like the heroes of old songs. Brother Paul, the warrior monk, killed demons with his bare hands, each strike accompanied by a prayer that made his fists burn with holy light. Captain Elena, once a simple farmer, now dual-wielded blessed blades that sang as they cut through demon flesh. Old Gregory, 70 years old and half-blind, held a choke point alone for 10 minutes, his ancient war hammer crushing skull after skull.
We will not surrender. We will not kneel.
We die as humans, they chanted back, even as they fell one by one. The demons were impressed despite themselves. These humans fought without hope of victory, without chance of survival, simply because fighting was better than kneeling. It was magnificent and pointless. The Herald of Darkness watched with something like respect.
You could have been great servants of the Dark Lord. Your strength, properly directed,
would still be used to defy him. That's what you've never understood. We don't fight because we think we can win. We fight because we're human, and humans don't kneel to monsters.
Part 5. The Dark Lord's Personal Touch. The Resistance had killed 300 demons when the temperature dropped to absolute zero. Ice formed on the walls. Breath became visible, then painful, then impossible. The Dark Lord had come personally. He didn't enter dramatically. He simply was there, reality bending around him like light around a black hole. His presence alone killed the weakest defenders. Their hearts simply stopped rather than beat in his presence.
How disappointing. 7 years of preparation, and this is your grand last stand.
We've killed hundreds of your demons. We've shown that you can be fought.
Have you?
The Dark Lord gestured casually, and every demon that had been killed in the battle reformed from their own spilled ichor, standing again as if nothing had happened.
Death is my domain. Did you think you could use it against me?
The resurrected demons grabbed the surviving fighters. 20 had become 15. 15 became 10. 10 became 5. Finally, only Commander Marcus remained standing, held upright more by will than strength.
Kneel.
Never.
Kneel, and I'll spare the children.
Marcus hesitated. In the tunnels, he could hear them. Dozens of children trying to escape, their terror echoing off the stone.
You'll kill them anyway.
True. But I could kill them quickly. Or I could make their deaths last years. I could turn them into living sculptures of agony. I could make them beg for you to have knelt. Your choice.
Part 6. The Breaking. Marcus fell to his knees. Not in submission, but in despair. The Dark Lord laughed.
See? In the end, you all kneel. Herald, bring the children.
The demons dragged them from the tunnels. 43 children ranging from 5 to 15. They lined them up against the cave wall. Some cried. Some stood defiant. Little David, the 5-year-old, clutched a wooden sword his father had carved for him.
Now, let's discuss consequences.
He walked along the line of children, examining each one like a collector evaluating specimens.
This one, too young to properly suffer. This one, too old to properly break. This one.
He stopped at a girl of perhaps 12 who glared at him with pure hatred.
Perfect.
He touched her forehead, and she began to change. Not quickly, mercifully, but slowly. Her skin turned to something like glass, transparent, showing all her organs working beneath. But the organs were wrong now. Her heart was outside her chest, beating visibly. Her brain was exposed, pulsing with each thought.
She's still alive. Still aware. She'll stay like this forever, a monument to the futility of resistance. Every beat of her exposed heart a reminder that I am inevitable.
The girl tried to scream but couldn't. Her vocal cords were now visible, vibrating uselessly. Part 7. The Key Hat Punishment.
Now for the adults. The traditional punishment for rebellion, impalement. But with my special touch.
The demons brought forward iron spikes, each one inscribed with runes that prevented death. The 5 surviving fighters, including Commander Marcus, were lifted and impaled, the spikes entering through their lower backs and emerging from their shoulders, carefully avoiding vital organs. But they didn't die. The runes kept them alive, aware, suffering.
Raise them.
The spikes were planted in the ground, lifting the impaled fighters 15 feet in the air. Their weight pulled them down onto the spikes, causing constant agony, but death wouldn't come.
But that's not artistic enough.
Then, with surgical precision, he began his true artwork. He started with Commander Marcus. With claws sharper than any blade, he carefully, methodically, removed Marcus's head while keeping him alive. The magic involved was complex, dark, impossible. But the Dark Lord was impossibility incarnate. Marcus's head, still conscious, still aware, was placed on a separate spike. His eyes could see his own body, headless but still twitching. He tried to scream but had no lungs. He tried to close his eyes but had no control. One by one, the Dark Lord repeated this with all 5 fighters. 5 heads on spikes, aware and suffering, looking at their own impaled bodies. Part 8. The Display of Despair.
Perfect. but it needs a message.
He turned to the remaining children, cowering against the wall.
You will be my messengers. You will go to every remaining pocket of resistance and tell them what you've seen here. Show them what awaits those who stand against me.
He branded each child with his mark, a burning shadow that would never heal, marking them as his heralds.
And if any of you think of lying, of giving hope instead of despair, remember, I can always make more monuments.
But little David, 5 years old and clutching his wooden sword, did something unexpected. He walked up to the Dark Lord and hit him with it. The wooden sword bounced off harmlessly. The Dark Lord looked down at this tiny act of defiance.
Brave little ant. You remind me of another child who tried to fight me. She died badly.
My daddy said monsters can be beaten. You're just a big monster.
The Dark Lord smiled, an expression that made reality itself recoil.
Your daddy is that head on the third spike. Let me send you to ask him how well monsters can be beaten.
His hand moved faster than sight. One moment David stood defiant with his toy sword raised. The next, the Dark Lord's claws had passed through the boy's small chest, emerging from his back covered in blood and fragments of spine.
Such a waste. Bravery in something so small. Almost admirable.
He twisted his hand, and David's body made a sound like breaking twigs. The Dark Lord then did something even crueler. He held the dying boy up so his father's severed head on the spike could see.
Look, Commander Marcus. Your son came to save you.
If Marcus could have screamed, he would have. Instead, he could only watch as the Dark Lord casually tossed David's small body aside like garbage, the wooden sword still clutched in tiny, dead fingers.
Children are especially foolish. They believe in heroes that don't exist.
Part 9. The warning spreads.
Take them away. Spread the word of what happened here. Let every human, elf, dwarf know this is what awaits all who resist.
The demons dragged the surviving children out, forcing them to walk past David's broken body, past the impaled fighters, past the separated heads, past the glass girl. Most were in shock, unable to process what they'd witnessed. Several had to step through the pool of David's blood, his wooden sword still lying where it had fallen. They were released, sent to spread fear. And they did. Within days, every survivor in every hidden settlement knew about the last resistance's fate. The descriptions spread like wildfire, the heads on spikes, still aware, still suffering. The glass girl, transparent and eternal. The 5-year-old boy who died for hitting the Dark Lord with a toy sword. The Dark Lord's personal attention to the torture. Many gave up then. Hundreds emerged from hiding to kneel, preferring quick death to what had happened at the Sanctuary of Defiance. The Herald of Darkness supervised the mass surrenders, sorting them, some for death, some for slavery, some for conversion. The Dark Lord's victory seemed absolute and final. Back at the Sanctuary, now renamed the Monument to Futility, the heads on spikes were positioned to watch the sun rise and set, though the sun rarely showed anymore. Their eyes, magically prevented from closing, witnessed everything. Their minds, prevented from breaking, understood everything. Commander Marcus's head on the highest spike was positioned so he could see his son's body every day. The demons had arranged David's corpse sitting against a rock, the wooden sword placed mockingly in his dead hands, his body preserved by dark magic to never decay. An eternal reminder of the futility of hope, the stupidity of courage. The glass girl stood nearby, her exposed organs still functioning, her transparent face frozen in an eternal scream that made no sound. Together, they formed a tableau of suffering that broke the spirit of anyone who saw it. Part 10. The Absolute Victory. 7 days after the destruction of the last resistance, the Dark Lord held court in his throne room. The registry of souls lay open before him, and for the first time in 2 years, no new blank pages had appeared. The mysterious gaps seemed to have stopped.
My lord, the psychological impact has exceeded expectations. 17 different resistance cells have surrendered this week alone. The story of the 5-year-old with the wooden sword has been particularly effective. Children believing in heroes. There is no sweeter delusion to crush.
He stood from his throne, his form expanding to fill the room with darkness.
Send word to all my domains. In 1 month's time, we will hold the Festival of Despair at the Monument to Futility. Every survivor will be brought to witness the heads on spikes, to see the glass girl, to understand that this is their reality now and forever. It will be done, my lord. And herald, have the Pied Piper play at the festival. Let him lead 1,000 children past their father's severed heads. Let the Tooth Fairy distribute her cursed gifts while families watch. Let them all understand that childhood, innocence, hope, these are just words I allow them to remember so their suffering is sweeter.
The herald bowed and departed, leaving the Dark Lord alone with his registry. He turned to the pages that remained blank, still a mystery, still an irritation, but no longer growing in number. Whatever had caused them seemed to have stopped. Perhaps it had been connected to that fool Raphael, who had vanished during the failed ritual. Perhaps it had died with the last resistance.
No matter. Let there be mysteries. Even gods need something to ponder during eternity.
Epilogue: The Depths of Despair. In his throne room, the Dark Lord stood before a new addition to his collection. David's wooden sword, mounted on the wall between Gabriel's wings and the crown of King Marcus III. Such a small thing, but it represented something precious, the death of feudal courage.
My lord, the preparations for the Festival of Despair are underway. But there have been reports. Reports. Some claim to have seen white butterflies. Just glimpses. Probably hallucinations brought on by despair. Butterflies? White ones, my lord. But our investigators find nothing. They vanish like morning mist.
For a moment, the Dark Lord was silent. Then he laughed, a sound that killed 3 servants instantly.
Let them see butterflies. Let them grasp at whatever phantom hopes they can imagine. When reality reasserts itself, when they realize these are just dying dreams, their despair will be all the sweeter.
But after the herald left, the Dark Lord returned to the Registry of Souls. Those blank pages, they hadn't increased, but they hadn't been filled either. They remained like questions without answers. On his spike at the Monument to Futility, Commander Marcus's head was forced to watch another sunset over his son's preserved corpse. If he could have wept, he would have. If he could have died, he would have. But somewhere, so faint he might have imagined it, he thought he heard something impossible. A child's laughter. Just for a moment. Just a whisper on the wind. Then it was gone, and only the silence of absolute defeat remained. The last resistance was dead. Hope was dead. The Dark Lord had won completely. Hadn't he? End of episode 9.
Approaches! On the horn! Women and children to the cavern! Men, take your positions! This is where we make our stand! We will not surrender! We will not kneel for our children's tomorrow! We raise our steel! Morphenet, sanguis fluet, nemo vivet, nemo fugit! Gods of old, hear our plea, grant us strength to stay free, though the darkness comes for all. We shall stand! We shall not fall! Swords clash, bodies fall, blood on stone, demons feast on flesh and bone. We fight with everything we got, but their numbers never stop. Mothers crying, children scream, this ain't no nightmare, ain't no dream. Steel meets claw, light meets dark, every strike leaves its mark. Fight, demons here, kill, demons. None us, Morimar, but we die as humans. Pathetic mortals, weak and small, watch your drivers rise and fall. Your resistance feeds my joy. Every man, woman, girl and boy. The walls are breaking, hope grows thin. The demon horde is pouring in. stilled. All my people, all were killed. On the spears their faces stare, warning those who still dare. Hands on spears, message clear. Bound to darkness, live in fear. Ultimate resistentia, exemplum dolores. Mortui monent, vivos resistentia est futilis.